Hello, everyone, and welcome. Have you ever just stopped and wondered what makes our planet Earth so special, so full of life? Well, today, we're going to go on an amazing adventure to uncover the four magic ingredients, these incredible realms, that all work together to make Earth the awesome home we know and love.
So what's the big secret? It's not just one thing. It's actually the perfect mix of four amazing realms, or zones, that are all connected in this kind of delicate dance. You can think of them like Earth's four superpowers, and it's because of them that life can even exist here. And here they are, our four superheroes. First up, we've got the lithosphere. That's all the solid ground under our feet, from the tallest mountains to the deepest parts of the ocean floor. Then there's the hydrosphere. That's all of Earth's water. We're talking giant oceans, rivers, and even tiny raindrops. Floating all around us is the atmosphere, that big blanket of air we breathe. And where these three meet, we find the most incredible zone of all, the biosphere. That's the magic little slice where all of us and every single living thing can survive.
Okay, let's kick off our tour with our feet planted firmly on the ground. We are starting with the lithosphere. Fun fact, the word lithos actually means rock in Greek, and that's pretty much what this realm is. The solid, rocky outer part of our planet. It makes up all the continents and all the landforms we see.
First stop on our world tour, the absolutely massive continent of Asia. It's the biggest one we've got, and it's a land of crazy extremes. It has the highest point on Earth, Mount Everest, and also the lowest point on land, the Dead Sea. Wow. Next, let's zip over to Africa, the second largest. It's got the huge Sahara Desert, and here's something really cool. It's the only continent where the equator, the Tropic of Cancer, and the Tropic of Capricorn all pass through. Can you imagine that?
All right, let's hop across the ocean to the Americas. Now, what's so cool is how these two giant pieces of land are connected. Up north, we have North America, our third largest continent, with the incredible Rocky Mountains and the 5 Great Lakes. And just south of that is South America, with the super long Andes Mountains and, of course, the Amazon rainforest. People call the Amazon the lungs of the world because it produces so much of the oxygen we all breathe. And the little thing connecting these two giants, a tiny strip of land called the Isthmus of Panama.
For our final stops on our land tour, we're visiting 3 totally different places. First, let's head way down south to Antarctica, also known as the White Continent, because it's pretty much always covered in a thick blanket of ice. It's a really important place for scientists, and India actually has 2 research stations there, Maitri and Bharati. Then there's Europe, with its famous Alps. And last but not least, Australia. It's the smallest continent, basically a giant island, and it's famous for the stunning Great Barrier Reef.
Okay, so we've explored the land. Now it's time to take a big, deep breath and dive right into our next realm, the hydrosphere. This is all the water on planet Earth. We're talking vast oceans, winding rivers, quiet lakes, and even all the ice that's frozen in glaciers.
This chart really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? We call Earth the blue planet because it's covered in water. But just look at this. A whopping 97% of it is salt water in the oceans. Another 2% is totally locked up as ice. That means only a teeny, tiny 1% is fresh water that we can actually use. That's it, just 1% for all of us.
So, you might be wondering, if most of the water is salty, how do we get the fresh water we need to drink and grow food? Well, it's all thanks to this amazing natural recycling system called the water cycle. The sun heats up water and it evaporates, rising up as vapor. Then, high up in the cool air, it condenses and forms clouds. And when those clouds get heavy enough, the water falls back down as precipitation, rain or snow, giving our planet all the fresh water it needs to survive. It's pretty genius, right?
Now let's talk about the biggest players in the hydrosphere, the 5 great oceans. The Pacific is the biggest of them all, and it's home to the deepest spot on Earth, the Mariana Trench. The Atlantic is the second largest, and it's like a super busy highway for trade ships. The Indian Ocean is super special. It's the only one named after a country, India. Then you've got the chilly Southern Ocean all around Antarctica, and the smallest one, the Arctic Ocean, right at the North Pole. But here's the most important part. Even though they have 5 different names, they are all connected. They actually form one gigantic world ocean.
All right, team. From the deepest parts of the ocean, let's fly up, up, and away into the sky to check out our third realm, the atmosphere.
So the atmosphere is this invisible, protective blanket of gases that wraps all around our planet. But what's actually in it? Well, it's mostly nitrogen, about 78%. But the really, really important part for us is oxygen. That makes up about 21%. That's the air that we and all animals have to breathe to live.
And this cozy blanket isn't just one single layer. It's actually got 5. We live way down at the bottom in the troposphere. That's where all our weather happens. But if you go way up into the stratosphere, there's a super important shield called the ozone layer. The best way to think about it is like Earth's own personal sunscreen. It protects all life down here from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. Pretty cool, huh?
So we've explored the land, we've dived into the water, and we've flown through the air. Now, it's time for the grand finale where everything comes together. Let's look at how these 3 realms team up to create the actual miracle of life in our 4th and final realm. This incredible meeting place is called the biosphere. Now, it's not some huge separate space. It's actually a very, very narrow zone where the land, the water, and the air all overlap. And it's this overlap that creates the perfect conditions for life to exist. Every single living thing, from the smallest little bacteria to the biggest blue whale, and yep, that includes you and me, we are all part of the biosphere.
And you know, it's our job to protect this amazing, delicate balance. But human activities, like burning fuel for our cars and in our factories, are releasing way too many greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide. These gases act like an extra thick blanket around the Earth, trapping too much of the sun's heat and causing the whole planet's temperature to rise. This is what we call global warming, and it's a really serious threat to the health of our biosphere.
And that's our grand tour of Earth's incredible realms. What a journey, right? Now it's time to put all that new knowledge to the test with a quick mission report. We're going to go through some questions from your book just to make sure we've got everything locked in. You ready? Let's do it. Okay, let's start with the multiple choice. The outermost solid layer? That's the lithosphere, the ground we started on. The percentage of Earth covered by land is about 29%. The busiest ocean for trade with all those ships crossing it is the Atlantic. The mountains that separate Asia from Europe are the Urals, and the continent that was once called the Dark Continent, that was Africa. So, how'd you do on that round?
All right, next up, let's fill in those blanks. Africa is connected to Asia by the Isthmus of Suez. The very bottom tip of South America is called Cape Horn. The white continent covered in all that ice is, of course, Antarctica. Europe's highest peak is Mount Elbrus, and the deepest part of the Indian Ocean is the Java Trench. Go ahead and take a second to check your answers. Fantastic so far. Let's check these short answers. The 3 big deserts in Africa are the Sahara, the Kalahari, and the Namib. Remember that little strip of land that links the 2 emerging continents? That's right, it's the Isthmus of Panama. And the 5 Great Lakes up in North America are Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario.
And for the next set, the amazing Great Barrier Reef is found just off the northeastern coast of Australia. The biggest ocean of them all, as we learned, is the massive Pacific Ocean. And here's that cool fact again. It was named by the explorer Ferdinand Magellan. He called it Pacifico, which means peaceful, because the waters just happened to be really calm when he was sailing on them.
And finally, let's just quickly review why all these big ideas are so important. The Amazon is called the lungs of the world because it makes so much of our oxygen. Oceans are super important because they control our weather and give us food. The ozone layer is that essential sun shield, protecting us from harmful rays. The biosphere is that precious, narrow zone that's home to every living thing. And global warming, caused by things like burning fossil fuels, is what's threatening this whole delicate system.
Wow, we learned so much today about how our planet is this amazing, interconnected machine. And I think the most important thing to remember is that we are all a part of it. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. Now that you've seen how perfectly balanced our world is, what is one small thing that you can do, maybe starting today, to help protect our beautiful and precious biosphere? Thanks so much for joining this explainer.